But Dune Awakening, the free beta weekend that they had, I got a key, and I tossed one Deg's way. We found a link that you could generate keys with, and you guys, all of my hopes have been confirmed. All of my fears have been assuaged. This game rocks my socks. Clean off. Just really incredibly good. Hello, and welcome back to Grass Touchers, the show where the three of us pals finally get back in the groove of talking about video games that we don't have time for, but we enjoy when we can. Anyway, I am Jake.
I am Peter Griffin.
And I'm Greg. Not Meg. Greg.
Peter. That's a good point. Peter, you lost weight. I'm proud of you, bud.
Yeah. I was gonna say some stuff before the podcast started. It's probably not great to put it on the podcast, but I'm doing good, guys. It's good to see you. I was in Michigan last week.
I was gonna say, kick us off. Tell us what you've been doing. I know you took a trip.
Went to Michigan. Didn't go to Detroit. I mean,
did you take all 17 of your various made in China gaming handhelds?
I took one of them. I didn't play it once. It's actually, I'm starting to consider maybe just doing a full sell off of all my stuff, and I need to build a PC, so I don't know. You
could make some cash if those tariffs hit right. You could hit it at the perfect peak.
That's where I'm at with it.
That's kind of good, dude.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how things go with that. I might do that just to build a PC. I'm kind of in the beginning stages of shopping for that. I have made the crucial error of returning to Dota recently, and I love that game. I love that game, dude. I just really, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm unrepentant about my enjoyment of that game, and it's changed a little bit. So I've been trying to get in there and trying to get used to that again.
Okay. Like big content updates, or just new champs, or what are we talking about?
The map, the main map. There's a bunch of changes that weren't there before I kind of stopped for a while there, before I took my little sabbatical away from there. But I'm back, and I'm relearning that. I was reminded today of an idea that I had, the penis wristwatch, which is a small wristwatch that goes around your penis. So
real grass touchers may know that was in a previous episode way back in the 10s or 20s, I think, of our episodes there.
I just thought that somebody reminded me of that today, and they said, "Wait, well, it's like I thought it was a wrist. I thought it was a normal watch in the shape of a penis," and I said, "No." And that's exactly why it's been so difficult to market.
You've got it all wrong.
Right.
Mom.
Yeah, Mom, you idiots. You're not getting one. I'm taking you off of the Kickstarter. I'm removing your backer privileges, and you're no longer on the superstar donor tier.
Brings a new meaning to seed money, am I right?
Lois? Look at my penis wristwatch, Lois.
The tier 1 gift is like a box of penis-shaped macaroni.
Yeah.
In a box.
Straight from the neighbor's bachelorette party, ladies and gentlemen. We got the leftover penis-shaped macaroni.
Right. The botched penis wristwatches, which they're supposed to be a regular wristwatch. I was gonna collaborate with the names, I was gonna go with that Rolex and the high end ones to try and market a real,
for sure,
something classy to put around your chassis. You know what I mean? Your setup. Somebody says, "Hey, you got the time?" And you go like this, and you look straight down your pants, and you go, "It's quarter till."
As it turns out, I do.
Right, and they look at you just completely dumbfounded. And it's a talking, it's something too. So you meet a classy lady. They say, "I notice you're not wearing a timepiece. You have all the other accoutrement. Where's your timepiece?" I said, "I am wearing a timepiece. Would you like to see it?" and then you trick them into showing them your penis. So it's
Officer, I asked and answered.
She
okay?
wanted to see
my watch.
This entire segment's gonna have to get cut. I'm just letting you know.
Oh man,
I just Googled famous expensive watch brands, and I was gonna go with Chodlex.
Oh,
and I was gonna go with Penis Philippe.
Oh,
but I can't pronounce half of these other ones. Obviously,
these are
Rolex.
great
We got that one in the bag. Yeah, Richard. I guess Richard Mille is one. So
just
Dick
Mille.
Mille. There
Yeah.
you go. There you go. Yep. It's pretty easy. The jokes write themselves, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know anything about watches. I'm not exactly a timepiece kind of guy.
Well, I got a timepiece right here for you, pal. That's
I
and
just
it's
know
gonna be
you
in the
do.
commercial.
Checks
you have
the
the
mail.
timepiece. You want to see a timepiece? Check this out. And then the commercial. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Went to Michigan. Pretty nice. Weather was great. And I'm not gonna talk about it because it's gonna be boring. It'd be so boring if I talk. So
Can't even.
let's just
Can't even
let's go right on
thinking about it.
to your guys' neck of the woods. How's it hanging?
Yeah, Greg, go.
Yeah, things have been good. It's good to see Jared again.
Yeah.
I've been playing a few games. I've been losing weight. I had surgery a month and a half ago. I'm like almost 50 pounds down. I'm seeing my jawline again, which is fantastic.
Ooh, yeah, buddy.
Turns out people have those. And had some unfortunate family things happen in the last couple weeks, and so I've been dealing with that, which has been tough.
Yeah.
But I took it upon myself to start playing a few new games. The main one is Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which I'll just go ahead and do my little segment about this. I'll make it pretty quick. It is a FRPG, French RPG, in the style of a JRPG, right? So it's
New genre unlocked. We got a French RPG before GTA 6, ladies and
we
gentlemen.
did, and it's probably going to be Game of the Year. I'm calling it right now. It has the highest Metacritic score of all time for a PlayStation game, and the reviews have been incredible. It is on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. I'm playing it on PS5. And so the best way to describe the game, for those of you who don't know, is the story is fantastic. The story is kind of what drew me in. It's kind of a futuristic version of, at least it starts in a futuristic version of Paris, called Lumiere. And basically there is some sort of entity, a monster. You don't really know whether it's a monster or some sort of being that off in the distance from the place where everybody lives, there's like a big mountain that they call the monolith. And there's a being called the paintress, and she paints a number on the side of the mountain, like gigantic, with magic. And anyone above that age dies instantly. And so once a year, she paints a new number, and it increasingly goes down. So the first number she ever painted was 100, and that's like 67 years before the game starts. So when the game starts, you are the age of 33, and she paints 33 on the mountain. So anyone 34 and older, so all the 34-year-olds die basically. And so gradually the population, like they know that eventually everyone's going to be dead because she's painting increasingly lower numbers. Kind of a wacky premise, right? Well, the whole hook of the game is that every year after each new age group dies, the city sends an expedition of people out into the world to try and go find her and kill her so that she will stop killing everybody. And all the previous expeditions have obviously failed because she's still doing the thing.
At large.
And still at large. And so anyways, it's very kind of unique premise, right? And you very quickly learn as soon as you get out into the real world, as it were, that things are not as they seem, obviously, and all that. So the story's great. The combat is turn-based, but has real-time and quick-time elements. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a Souls-like, kind of mixed with Resident Evil 4's quick-time events. So it's got a little bit of like, hit this button here, dodge this, do this. But it also, like, when it's your turn, it's fully turn-based basically, except for your attacks. If you time button mashes correctly, you get extra damage or bonuses or whatever, but the majority of that happens on the enemy's turn. When they attack you, you can dodge, you can jump, you can do all these things. And
so the quick time stuff is more advantageous when you want to like counter and
yes.
The defense. Okay.
And part of that is because some of the enemies in the game do so much damage that like it's impossible to actually beat them if you even take a single hit. So you have to like, because it's like a lot of the enemies are like one hit kill kind of enemies, and so you have to get good, as it were. And so combat is really refreshing. To me the biggest thing has been the voice acting and the animations and the facial expressions. Is just very realistic and believable. The main character looks like what's his name? The guy in the Batman Twilight guy, Edward.
I do not remember.
The main vampire character.
Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. Yes.
That's the guy.
Yes.
Robert Edward Pattinson, as they call him.
Yeah, he plays Edward. Yeah. The main character looks like him, but it's not voiced. Like, it looks exactly like him, but not voiced by that actor. But there are several of the voice actors from Baldur's Gate 3 are in this game, and it is not a AAA developer. The company only had 30 people actively involved regularly on making this game, and so it's their first game they've ever made as a company, and it's taken off. Highly recommend. I think you guys both would like it. I think most people out there would really enjoy the game. Even especially if you're not a turn-based person, this is kind of a nice stepping stone, or maybe even the only step you would take into that turn-based realm, because it's really, the combat's refreshing. And
it sounds like it's so much more than your average turn-based RPG. It sounds like it's got much more going for it than, some of those turn-based games you can just like put your controller down and go walk the dog and nothing happened when you returned. But this one requires, more active interactivity. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. And there's some unique aspects to it that you don't see in other RPGs. Like, there are no items like at all in the whole game. So
really,
there are healing items that replenish whenever you rest. But those run out pretty quick. Like, at the beginning, you start with one healing item, one revive item, and that's it.
So you're not picking up like a new sword or
there's new weapons, but there's not like random like items that affect your status in battle, and you can't buy a bunch of healing potions. You only get like one per battle, and so and those you can't buy new ones. They only replenish by resting. Which is a pretty unique thing. So you have to like be really smart about like healing in combat, because it's very limited, unless you have a healing like skill or something. So there's skill trees and stuff. But it's just very unique. And so that was kind of when everything happened with my mom the last couple of weeks, that was kind of something that was a nice pick me up. So
yeah, dude,
that's been cool. And obviously excellent. Siege is incredibly inconsistent.
We returned to it the other night after over a week of not playing. I don't know about you guys. I certainly didn't play on my own, and that was a rude awakening.
It sure was. And
what a perishable skill this game is.
It is certainly. And so, other than that, played a little bit of the Dune MMO with Jake, which which is a perfect segue. I'm gonna turn it over to him so he can.
Speaking of awakenings,
for a second.
Dude, I have never played a survival crafty kind of game that I liked. Never. I tried Ark against all odds with Jared once upon a time.
Once upon a night.
It was like one night.
It was literally one night. You're like, oh, hey, this freaking sucks and I hate it. And you never played it.
It was not for me. I don't frick with like Rust or... honestly, I can't say I've given it the old college try, but DayZ. Remember, Jared, we jumped to DayZ a little while ago, and I was like, what is this even? God. Get out of here. What a waste. But Dune Awakening, the free beta weekend that they had, I got a key, and I tossed one Deg's way. We found a link that you could generate keys with. And you guys, all of my hopes have been confirmed. All of my fears have been assuaged. This game rocks my socks clean off. Just really incredibly good. I I was hooked on the premise because the Denis Villeneuve movies were just so good. I was like, hey, if it's got Dune in it, I will try it at least once, like for sure. And I haven't played an MMO since Star Wars: The Old Republic. When it first came out, I played it for a solid, I don't know, 2 years off and on. I really enjoyed it. Max leveled one of the characters and blah, blah, blah. But I tell you what is so uniquely captivating about Dune Awakening, at least judging by the beta, is that the world and the rules of that world and the lore and the things that Frank Herbert wrote in the book Dune are adhered to and constructed all around you in the form of the environment. There's things that have to be in this game that can't be any other way, because otherwise it wouldn't be Dune, you know. And the Holtzman shields and the way that in melee combat you have to do like light, heavy to slow blade penetrates the shield, right? That kind of thing. The sound design has been borrowed from some of the movies. You hear some very, very similar sound effects. It really is it's very grounding to hear that similarity, and I think that's really working for it. The traversal around the map is intuitive and not actually that limited by the survival mechanics. All you got to do is walk around on the shadows, and if you're on sand, don't run too fast or for too long, and you'll be fine. I got eaten by a sandworm twice, but I wasn't even mad. I took a risk and I paid for it, kind of thing. Prior to those, I had close calls, and I thought I had figured out like how to operate around sandworms. But
was it terrifying when he finally got eaten?
I couldn't believe how terrifying it was. I thought, oh, yeah, whatever, sandworm. And I thought, surely, maybe in this beta, like, free weekend, maybe I get my stuff back or something. No mercy, no. And so it's got this Tarkov, like, extraction thing where anything on you is gone. And there isn't an alpha pack or pouch or whatever. There's no secret butthole that you can shove things up where you'll get your stuff back. It's gone.
Dang.
And so I paid dearly for that. It's the beta and everything wipes, so it doesn't matter. But I was still like, dang, lesson learned. Oh, my Lord. The crafting and gathering of resources and base building was way more engaging than I thought it would. It's incredibly stylized. There's all kinds of different packs of like texture packs, I guess you'd say, for the base building. So you start with one set, and then you can gain another in the beta weekend that they had. There might even be a third that I just didn't get to, but there's like different sort of decoration styles and like parts of interior decorating type stuff you can do. I don't really care about the interior decorating so much, but the outside, the exterior, you can decorate and construct in a way that resembles the Harkonnens or resembles House Atreides or resembles Chom or a more sort of blending into the desert like sandstone kind of look. And the base building is very easy. I don't know what you thought, Greg. I'll let you give your thoughts in a minute. I thought it was pretty intuitive and works really well. The resource gathering alone is its own little mini game where you go up and scan something with the cutter ray, and it shows you a little blue line, and you trace the blue line, and then the rock is cracked, and you automatically get all those resources. There's no like running up to a bunch of little rocks and hitting E, right, to gather. You're not just taking a pickaxe to something and like farming, you know, in that sense. It's an active but quick and forgiving exercise, you know, and I think that's very respectful of the player's time. I think one of the biggest sins that a video game developer can commit is to not respect the time of the player. If there's going to be something I have to soak time into, and if I have to learn a system and how it works and try to min-max something, it should have some payoff. And so for the crafting and resource gathering to be so straightforward, I think is huge. The skills are very cool. The combat's very cool and feels like weighty, feels chunky to me. The guns sound freaking cool, and they have different strengths and weaknesses that are very clear. At the time of the beta, there were some questions about PvP, because people figured out that if you take a good enough gun, or sword, and the enemy has their stamina depleted, then you can just like light attack, and it chains into this stun lock that the other player can't get out of. So if you're in a PvP situation, all you need is like a dagger and you'll win, because you'll just beat them into submission and they get stun locked. Well, the devs have already responded to it and said, hey, we realize that's in the beta. There's not a lot of places that you can do PvP in the beta, so we didn't focus on shoring up the PvP weaknesses just yet. That is already fixed. in the new build that is coming out when the game launches. It's not in the build that you're experiencing in the beta because we set the beta up like 2 weeks ago or whatever. You know, like we sort of laid the foundation for the beta and spun up all the servers, and that build of the game is already old, and that is not a problem anymore in the final build. So we know what you're talking about. Don't sweat it. And so there were some people that were complaining about the animations and that stun locking problem and the way the combat looks. And to me, it's like, I don't really care. It looks like an MMO, but the atmosphere is so there. I don't really care. You know, I loved climbing up to the top of mountains and then having a suspensor belt on so that I could jump down and not take fall damage. That's something you kind of have to earn. The planet is very, very hostile until you craft the right stuff, and then it's a little bit less hostile, and it's a little bit less hostile. And then you go to a new area, and there's new problems. You got to craft against those. You got to plan against those. You got to get sneaky. You got to get slick. There's lots of things to look out for, but none of it is like punishing in a stupid way. Everything's logical and everything's grounded in Frank Herbert's work, and I think that is just really cool.
Can you tame dinosaurs?
No, you can't.
Wow.
Go away.
Sounds busted.
Child. No. You can build a sand bike, and I did that, and it was very cool. It was a very rewarding little quest line of crafting where they sort of handhold you with these little quests that's like, do this, and then do this, and then do this. Boom, you have a sand bike. And so I built a sand bike, and I was zooming around the desert. Dude, it was freaking cool.
That sounds sick.
The durability of the items in the sand bike treads can break, and then you gotta like pull over and pull out your repair tool and fix them, which was kind of neat. But again, forgiving. It took me riding around on the sand bike for like 5 hours before anything broke on it. You know, it was like a very manageable amount of decay and sort of, you know, sand accumulation or whatever you want to chalk that up to. It was pretty sweet. Greg, you want to tack onto that at all, man? What'd you think? I know I put more hours in it than you did this weekend, but what'd you think?
Yeah, it was fun.
Because you've played more MMOs than I have by a lot. You were a WoW head for a minute there.
Yeah, I played a lot of WoW. Tyler and I, who isn't actively addicted to any video games right now.
Shout out Tyler, one of the OGs.
Yeah, he's
sorry we ruined your life with PUBG.
As we speak. But I purposefully didn't play a lot after I played a little bit because I don't. This is going to sound dumb. I don't want to ruin it for myself. Like I don't want to put it. MMOs. My thing is like, and I've played a lot of MMO betas. I played the original World of Warcraft beta in 2004.
That's so crazy to me. Yeah.
Actually, well, I won't get into that because I'll call Tyler out. But we Tyler and I played the WoW beta, the alpha or the not alpha, but the vanilla version of the game. We played that beta in 2004. And I don't like the idea of putting a lot of time into a character that I can't keep, you know?
Yes.
And then having to start over from scratch and go through all the stuff again. Because MMOs are, if anything else, they're huge time sinks. And, you know, however, it was cool. There was some animation stuff like you talked about, like, when the sandworms would get near you and the sand would be deforming, it would just like parts of it would just go like
it looks sort of funny.
Just kind of look funny and stuff. But
when you manage to outrun a sandworm and get to some rocks or a mountain or a cliff face or a thing, the sandworm gives up because it can't follow you there. But the way it looks when it retreats is what Greg's talking about. Sort of goofy for a second. It is cool because as you see the sandworm going, like if you watch the sandworm chasing someone else, it's so cool because the terrain of the map is changing with the path of the sandworm. There's hills and valleys that are kind of carved out of the sand by the sandworm. Very cool.
Yeah, but it was cool. I mean, the combat, like the gunplay felt pretty good, and the survival mechanic of it was frustrating, which is the point. Yeah, I will more than likely play the game, if only to just hang out with y'all.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, what phase of the beta you got to, you were right on the edge of building still suit and of building like the blood purifier and like water bottle, because once you have those, you can hydrate on the go like way easier, and the game kind of opens up to where you have more range, right? Because when you're naked and afraid and you ain't got nothing to your name, the range that you can go from your place of residence or what have you is like not very big, because you can only fill up your hydration meter so far. You don't have a still suit, you don't have a water bottle, and that creates some limits on your gameplay. You have to constantly go get more hydration from the little condensating like plants or whatever. But it is pretty neat. It's pretty neat. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I was a literal grass toucher. I went and shot some guns, had some good family time this past Mother's Day. Shout out to all the moms. Shout out to my mom, who occasionally listens to our podcast. Love you, Mom. Hope you're having a great day. Went and shot some guns with some pals, and I just got to say, you guys, if there's a day in your neck of the woods, wherever that may be, the grass toucher community all over the world, if the weather rocks and you think to yourself, man, it's a beautiful day, it's a shame I have to go work. Dude, cut out a little early if you can. Go outside after work. Go mow your grass. Go play with your kids. Go kick a soccer ball around. Go to the park. Walk the dog. Do something. Because on Saturday when we were hanging out with our pals, we shot guns. We had a bonfire. We had a brisket. Oh, my gosh. It was delightful. It was just really good. And so I just want to plug, because this is Grass Touchers after all, and I just talked about playing the Dune beta MMO ad nauseum over one weekend. Just want to point out, I absolutely want to encourage all of us to go touch some grass in these trying times of trying to eke out an existence. I got a new holster, and I'm wearing it right now to try to get used to it and break it in more. Look at this thing. It's like a real holster. It's pretty sweet. I've been working on like dry firing with it, kind of drawing out of it, trying to break it in. So it's really cool. We're in nature. We're out here in nature.
We're in nature. Dry fire, man. 77.
Oh man. Well, folks, listen. I'm not gonna lie to you. We're happy to make it a little shorter than usual today, because we hit the highlights. We've got some video games to play. We've got some catching up to do. I hope that you do the same with the loved ones in your life. I hope that you follow us on Instagram and YouTube at 3 Grass Touchers, and take this opportunity, since it's a shorter episode, go to the YouTube channel, go to the Instagram, watch you some content, all right? Catch up on episodes you missed. Let us know what you think in the comments, and share and like and follow Grass Touchers. And until next time, get out there and touch some grass.
Frogs.